One day I was walking in a particular street. I was going. Someone just parked his car and came out and lie down like this. On the road. Because I decided to go there. You know how to get to come across my efforts. But Nigerians voted in the condition. I have 56%. That is how you know the success of what you are doing. Nigerians are watching. People are watching.
Welcome to another episode of the CISR podcast, where we share real stories behind Africa's leaders, change makers, and builders of legacy. I'm your host for today, Sarah, and joining with me today is an accomplished leader, academic, professional, and public servant, and his leadership journey spans between governance and also grassroots development. He has shown what it means to lead with vision, with commitment, and also with a heart for the people. Today we're going to explore his journey, his key leadership lessons, and the insight he feels will benefit the next generation. So welcome, sir. It's an honor to have you on the podcast. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Sarah. It's a pleasure being with you.
All right, sir. So moving back, you're someone who has, worked in different shoes, would I say. You've worked in public service, you've also been in leadership roles in terms of grassroots development, community development, in terms of academia too. But I guess I've been privileged to know this. But for those who are meeting you for the first time, can you just tell us a bit about yourself, your background, and what has built you to this point in time, or what has shaped you to this point?
Well, thank you very much, Sarah. And once again, thanks for the opportunity to hold this conversation with you.
Okay.
Well, my journey has spanned through different, spheres, beginning from the academia, where I had 9 years teams, lecturing with the College of Education, specifically in Kafanchan. Then it was College of Education, Kaduna State College of Education, Kafanchan. Now it is Kaduna State College of Education, Gidanwaya.
Okay.
Right. I spent 9 years there, like I said, but even before then, I had a year's team, during my NYC with the Nigerian Television Authority.
Okay.
Yeah, that was then in the then Gongola State, now split into two, Taraba and Adamawa State. And that was as far back as 82 through 83. I would have ended up working in the AT because that was the I desire.
Okay.
The gentleman I had the privilege of serving under was so pleased with my contribution within that 1 year that he really desired that I continue working with them. But because I was working in an environment I was not quite comfortable with. First, the heat, I gave an excuse to be allowed, to go back home, reset, and then come back, get back to Yola, to join them. That was my uncertain way of just breaking away from them. Still, he wanted me to remain within the NTA family, and so he decided to give me a letter to take to Kaduna, to NTA Kaduna. His colleague that was there. I traveled to Kaduna, dropped the letter, and I never went back. I didn't have the opportunity to meet his colleague that was there because that one had traveled abroad. But I never went back. So I came down to Kafanchan. And my passion really was to be in the classroom to teach. Somehow I had a burden. I just felt like if I needed to feel a sense of fulfillment, I wanted an environment where I could interact with young people and then, have cross-fertilization of ideas situated within intellectualism, and so that was my essentially, takes you beyond the ivory tower to begin to engage with communities, So it was a genre of theatre or a kind of theatre or a strand of theatre, that sought to connect people, with the ivory tower, and that was my passion. And I thought I needed to experiment that in rural communities around me. It hadn't been in existence at the College of Education, so I actually pioneered that. Did a proposal which I presented to the board, the board of directors of the college. Then it was called Academic Board.
What college is that? The ABU?
No. That's the College of Education.
Okay.
Yes. So the Academic Board requested I needed to present that proposal for their consideration, which I did, and it won their favor, and that was the beginning. That was introduced as an integral part of a course, academic course, So that took the college out of the confines, the comfort of the college, to the community. And the good news is that I had the privilege of actually interacting in a very robust manner with quite a number of rural communities, understanding what their concerns, what their aspirations, what their expectations were, and connecting that with those within the corridors of power, who oftentimes, turn out policies on the basis of assumption that they knew the concerns of the people. Now, this provided a vital link, a bridge between the academia, rural communities, and policymakers. Right? And it was in the course of that the then MAMSA, which has now metamorphosed into the National Orientation Agency. Right? And when it was MAMSA, it was under the chairmanship of Professor Jerry Ghana. I'm sure you've heard of that name.
Yes.
Then he was the chairman of MAMSA. So when he learned about the work I was doing, an invitation was extended to me, to be amongst the resource persons for MAMSA then, working together with some professors from ABU and other tertiary institutions across the country, whose passion was also community theatre for development. And then MAMSA, essentially was a grassroots-based government outfit, that came up with, that birthed quite a number of revolutionary ideas, on how to connect government with the grassroots. And so it provided me that opportunity, and we developed the MAMSA Community Theatre Manual. So that was the beginning of my journey. So for 9 years that I spent at the College of Education, those 9 years were defined not only by my work with the students within the confines of the classroom, but it was also defined by my work with communities, working together with students, right, and connecting with our communities. That bridge was a very robust one, and it also provided me the opportunity to also participate actively in a number of MAMSA-sponsored, community theatre workshops and mobilization endeavors, in different parts of the country. Specifically, sometimes MAMSA brought social mobilization officers from across the states together for training. So these were some of the things that I spent time doing. Besides, the teaching of literature, and the different genres of literature at the College of Education, and the production of a number of performances, which took us occasionally to ABU and other more established tertiary institutions, and I must say, with all modesty, that we left our mark there. And today, it is quite encouraging to share with you that the College of Education now has a full-fledged drama department.
Wow.
Right, running with a full complement of lecturers there, and
that's based off of the initiative that you started.
Precisely. And I also had to resource with manpower. I had to fall back on some of my friends whom I left at the Maiduguri University, and some that I had come across too from the University of Jos when I was running my postgraduate program at the University of Jos. And I encouraged them to come join me in order to grow that unit into what today is a full-fledged drama department, running and producing people like me and feeding the universities and the theatre arts departments for those who really wish to pursue that line. And after that, I had, I ventured into a little bit of politics. That was just for a short period. I really didn't deliberately quit the academia, but I was actually approached and requested to come and be the local government secretary. That's specifically to my local government secretary.
Okay.
Yeah, and I do not know why the choice. Well, I availed my services for 2 years. It was in the course of my working there that quite a number of influential politicians within the local government felt that I was quite a good material, to chair the local government. That was during then it was SDP, Social Democratic Party, under who was then in charge as the head of state. General Ibrahim Babangida was there before General Abacha took over.
Okay.
And so we had actually flagged off the campaigns for the local government chairmanship. But then there was a coup that truncated that process. And that was how the political career terminated for me. And so I went into a law for a short while.
A law?
A period of law.
Okay.
It was a quiet moment for a short while. And until that uncle of mine, who thought that my resourcefulness, should not be allowed to lie fallible for such a period, and wanted to know if I could come, with my experience and other things into the National Orientation Agency. Then it had now, assumed a new name, National Orientation Agency, and that was how I found myself as a staff of the National Orientation Agency. Before it became National Orientation Agency, like I told you, it was MAMSA. And I was working with them from a distance while I was lecturing with them. Now I had become a full-fledged employee of the National Orientation Agency, bringing my wealth of experience to bear. And I think the National Orientation Agency actually threw up for me new areas of new challenges that helped also in molding me, sharpening my perception of issues and how to also develop my citizen engagement capabilities. And I must tell you that I cannot my history, or rather my story, and whatever successes I've recorded over time must be credited also to the National Orientation Agency and the years that I spent there.
Okay.
All right. And so there I rose. First, I was there working in the office of the Minister of Information. Then Professor Jerry Gana was then the Minister of Information. And he brought me in with 4 other people, to constitute his research team. So we were there until there was a change of guard. And then we went back to the National Orientation Agency. And to cut a long story short, I grew in that agency to become the director of planning, research, and strategy. For 10 years I was there before I finally bowed out. And those 10 years as a director again provided a learning curve for me. A learning curve from different prisms. First, as a leader. Secondly, as a mobilizer. Thirdly, as a researcher. process of development. And at the center of the success of national development is the values that people really hold dear to chest. Because those are the values that shape your attitude, that shape your behavior towards work. And so you are more likely to have a stagnant society. People by competent, skilled people that are zero in attitudes, zero in values. So you could have a brilliant person with the wrong attitudes, with the wrong values, and therefore you have a stagnant society. You have a stagnant nation. Right? So one drives the other. And that is what the National Orientation Agency is about. Now that's hard. No, so 2028, I bowed out of the agency, but even while there, because of my passion, my desire to always, add a favor to myself, because learning is a process, and there can never be a time you say you've come to the terminus of learning. Every stage of life opens an opportunity that challenges you to want to learn something new. And it was for that reason that even while with the National Orientation Agency, I decided to seek admission, into the University of that to run a law program, which I successfully completed. All right. So that again gave me a new dimension to life, looking at issues from the legal perspective also. All right. And that has helped me quite a great deal. I may not be practicing law, but I'm not totally ignorant of what is required. All right. The legal requirements and whatever it is we are doing. All right. And I was done with that as far back as 2006. I was done with that. And just before my retirement, I decided, well, it was proper for me to still go back to the classroom and learn. So I enrolled for my PhD at the University of Abuja. And I'm glad to share with you that I completed that sometime last year. That was February last year. I had my external defense. And you want to ask what next? Well, yes, like I told you, there is never a terminus. So the learning continues because there's always something to learn. And let me tell you one interesting thing. And I pray that you take that to heart. The day you stop learning is the day you start retrogressing. The day you stop learning is the day you get rusty. And so learning is a continuous process until you exit this earth. All right. And that has been my guiding principle, to always learn something new. And what I've learned, is still an aspect of what I read in my first degree, because the whole idea was to see how I could establish an intercourse between theater, right, and the legal education that I acquired. And specifically, not just any kind of theater, but theater for development, which I explained to you, sets out to engage with people in order to liberate and empower the capacity to ask questions, to interrogate every situation of theirs. All right? Because when you do not interrogate your circumstances, you are likely to remain stagnant, and you can never have a society that changes until you ask questions. And that is what the legal profession tries to do. It is seated on the quest for justice, fairness, and equity. Theater for development seeks to do the same thing. And so I could see common grounds within theater for development, between theater for development and legal education. All both seeking to liberate the man, both seeking to empower the citizen, who is the motive force of every development process. Both seeking to interrogate and to ensure that equity, justice, and fairness is established. Because these are the cornerstones of a prosperous society. And so that has been my contemplation, my vision. How is it possible for me to marry law and theater for the purpose of transforming society? Using my background as a mobilizer, working with a researcher, and so on and so forth. that's where I stand. This has shaped my motivation. This has shaped my career pursuit. This has shaped every other thing that I've sought to do. And that possibly has been the reason also why I've always found myself working for community, providing leadership. Right from when I was a young person, the community from which I come decided I should be the youth leader.
Okay.
And I provided that leadership for quite a number of years as the president of the Community Development Association of my community. And as I speak to you today, somehow, as Providence will have it, I'm the president I'm the national president of my Community Development Association. Many years after I stopped being the youth president. Now I'm the president. I don't know if I should call that an adult president because, and there are young people also working under me and learning the ropes, which to me, again, is a perspective in mentoring. You know, who do you hand the baton over? Who does what it is that you've been doing and perhaps does it even better? All right. And so that's an eloquent statement on sustainability, all right, and continuity. So that's what I'm about.
Okay, that's quite vast. And I like the fact that you spoke about, continuous development, continuous education. That is one key thing that I think has stood out in your journey. The fact that you have just not confined yourself to one space of saying, oh, okay, I started in this area, I have to remain in this area, but you've constantly pushed yourself into other areas and other opportunities that constantly saying how you can get better, make things better. You also spoke about like sustainability, and I think that's also very good in leadership. The fact that you are talking about also living, sustaining the legacy, not just it ending with you, but also raising people that can also, keep up even if you're not there. And you mentioned something about ethics value. That one stood out to me because, we also had a guest previously who spoke. He's a top leader in ethical leadership, and he really emphasized more on this area. And he really on the importance of raising ethical leaders in our society right now and today. But I want to ask you a question from your story. At the early years, you mentioned something about, you leaving the NTA and coming. So this one is I just want to know, did you ever, to date, have you ever regretted and thought like, I think I should have taken that NTA walk? And what was it for you that just made you know that, no, I don't want to be with the NTA? Was it just, was there like an internal locus of saying, I don't want to be in the NTA, this is what, because you said you wanted to do teaching. So I want to ask that. And also, you made notes that there was a period after your service with the College of Education that it was silent. So during that silent period, how did you navigate it? Because there are a lot of people who, they are in their careers and most people will sometimes experience that silent period. And I think in those periods is when a lot of people feel challenged, a lot of people give up, a lot of people get depressed. So I just want to know, did you also feel all these emotions in those periods, and how did you navigate it?
Okay. Whether there were ever times I felt I regretted not taking up the job with ATA.
Yes.
I wouldn't say there was ever a time I regretted the decision, to politely and diplomatically, escape from the opportunity I was given. Notwithstanding the fact that I had great prospects, quite frankly, of rising on the job there. Why? Because unlike what you find now, for the 1 year I was in Yola, NTA Yola, I was loved.
Okay.
And they gave me a free hand as a copper. I could work as a copper, something you cannot find now. Something often only permanent staff, senior permanent staff were allowed to do. But as a copper, I was given the liberty. I could walk into the television station, pick a phone, sign for a bus, all right, go to wherever I needed to go, to source for my several times I requested and I was given.
Okay.
After producing the program, I was given the liberty to have my name on the program. So I was given the credit. Just as a copper, and these were privileges that you could only find, or you can only find today, accorded senior staff.
Yes.
All right. So as a copper, you could be walking behind the screen without anybody knowing
you.
that you were the person really generating those ideas. But in my own case, we had 3 coppers, myself and one Humphrey from Edo State. He graduated from UI, and then one Ugochukwu, who graduated from MTI Enugu. That one was a graphic artist. But the 2 of us, Humphrey and myself, Humphrey Ojefo and myself, had the liberty to request for anything and we were given. We had direct access to the station's library. Okay? And I had copies of the programs that I produced. At the end of my service year, I was given soft copies to take away. Alright? I still have them. It's just that perhaps, the process of preserving some of these things may be a little bit very faulty. I'm not sure you can have the quality that we had now if those tapes are to be played for you. But that was the environment in which I worked, and I enjoyed every bit of it. So if it was opportunity, I was given the opportunity. My living there does not make me to regret, however, because it was a matter of choice, and it was a matter of what really I loved more doing. Yes, I was given a free hand, but there was something that I still wanted to do. There was something I still felt I was missing. And it possibly was the fact that I came from an ABU background that has theatre for development as the biggest asset of that department. Alright? Which no other university in this country was practicing. So we are talking of that aspect of theatre. ABU is the originator. And it remains a reference point. Of course, over the years, many other universities have introduced them. And there are products from the Ahmadu Bello University that have been exported to such other universities. Alright? But we are talking of the 80s now. Alright? So I felt a sense of fulfillment once I got to the College of Religion and I took up that job. I felt a sense of fulfillment. I could do what I had envisioned I needed to do. It excited me, engaging with the communities. Of course, you could engage with communities through the NTA also, but it was not the same like engaging with students and taking the theatre beyond the ivory towers to the community. My experience with the College of Education gave me a first-hand, on-the-spot physical interaction with the communities, which possibly NTA might not have given me. I work with a lot of students, a lot of young people, because the program I was producing for NTA was, the Hausa version was Don Matasa, as in Hausa. The English version is Youth Forum, alright, and I was producing both Youth Forum and Don Matasa, and I could go to the then College of Education in Yola to get students to come and participate. I could go to the College of Advanced Legal Studies to get students to participate. I could go to post-primary institutions there, the WTC, which was not far away from the NTA, and several times we did that, and we had the trust, we enjoyed the trust of the principal then, even though it was a female student, female school, but we enjoyed the trust of the leadership of the school, and I did a lot of recording work with them, promoting culture and other things. I wrote a lot of drama scripts, which were produced and aired. And these are experiences you possibly may not find full-fledged employees of some media houses having the privilege to do. I was given this opportunity as a corporate to do that, and I remain indebted to the bosses under which I work who gave me this free hand. Did I regret? Was there any time I regretted not enjoying this or living all these privileges? Never was there a time I regretted, because I had a sense of fulfillment when I moved to the college education, because I enjoyed every bit of what I was doing. Now, the second other question you ask has to do with the
silent period.
The silent period. Quite frankly, as a human being, sometimes, idleness could be very devastating, especially if that idleness is created not at your own instance. All right? You are confronted by it, and it requires you making a little adjustment, especially if you have been somebody that had kept yourself busy doing one thing or the other, and suddenly there's a lull. That period of lull could either completely diminish you and even erode your self-esteem. But you could also translate that period of lull, into a big challenge and an opportunity to come up with new things to fill in the gap. What did I do in my own case? It was almost a 2-year period of lull, because I actually put in my retirement, my resignation from the college, because I was released from the college to serve as a secretary of the local government on secondment. All right, on secondment. Meaning that I could go back after 2 years.
Okay.
That is what the public service rule provides. But rather than go back, I decided to delve into politics.
Okay.
To run for an election. The rule provides that when you decide to contest an election, you must resign. So I had to resign, So when the Abacha school truncated the process, the electoral process, that created that law. Was I to go back, withdraw my resignation? That was a difficult thing to do. So what did I do? I felt a sense of emptiness as a human, as a normal person. All right. How long was that to last? Just for a short while. What did I need to do? Of course, I had my own bills to pick. I had my children who were just in primary school then. None of them had gone into the secondary school. My first daughter was in primary school, and she was in faraway Kaduna in a boarding school, Essence International. That was where she was. My second daughter was schooling there in Kabacha Head Start. Right? My son had not started anything. Right? So these were some of the challenges. And I needed to pick up their bills and then to attend to some other issues. All right? One thing I fell back on was to rear goats. And somehow, that is one of my passions, right? Farming, but this time, herding, right? So, I had quite a number of goats, and anytime it was time to pay school fees, all I needed to do was to catch one and sell, and then pay the school fees. And I built quite a number of pens for them, all right? And interestingly, Sarah, they kept multiplying until I had over 20, and 20 was quite a good one, all right? And so that was one way. But I do know that there were struggles, quite frankly. Yeah. But those struggles never really, threw me. They didn't throw me off balance. I still remain optimistic that it was just for a matter of time until this opportunity came, and then I came over to Abuja, to start a new life as a civil servant in a bureaucratic setup, quite different from working in the academic environment. It didn't take me long, to settle in to the rhythm of public service, and also tried to fill in the gaps in that period of law.
Okay.
Right? So whatever it was that she could do, she picked up the pieces and did what she could do, just to fill in the gaps. So it was something that required understanding. It was something that required support. It was something that required collaboration. And she was not found wanting in that respect at all. But like I said, it was short-lived, because that lasted for just a while.
Yeah.
Before I got an opening. I do not know if I've addressed those.
Yeah.
Any other questions that you ask?
Okay, I think that's pretty much all. The others were just highlights. When you were speaking about goats, I just remembered in the Bible, usually they use animals to measure wealth. So we could say you are